Well, after more than 30 years as a doctor seeing thousands of patients, you'd think Betty Ruth Speir would want to be relaxing on a tropical island somewhere while somebody else cooked for her, but that couldn't be further from the truth. The retired OB-GYN put down her doctor's tools and picked up her kitchen tools, indulging full-time in her lifelong passion, cooking. Betty Ruth has put some of her favorite recipes into this book. It's called Come Cook With Me. She joins us now this morning as part of our book author series. Betty Ruth, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Danielle.
I'm so happy you're here with us because, you know, some people might not think, you know, OB-GYN and cook go hand in hand, but you call yourself the gyne-gourmand. Have you always, you've always loved to cook?
I've always loved to cook since I was a child.
Yeah, who taught you?
This wonderful lady, she's 90 years old now, Elmira, that cooked for my family, you know, for years. She taught me to cook, and I followed her around in the kitchen. In fact, I dedicated my book to Elmira. She's 90 years old now and in a wheelchair, but still cooking.
Still cooking
still
at 90.
Cooking.
Well, you know, I know your dad was a country doctor,
Correct.
in your words. You followed in his footsteps. And I'm sure, you know, through med school and your practice, you worked a lot of long days and nights, but you say the recipes in your book are from scratch. How in the world did you find the time?
I just really, cooking has just kind of been a tranquilizer for me over the years. I mean, anytime, and even if I were busy and studying and working, I could take a break in the kitchen and it would totally relax me.
Well, when you say take a break, you took a break, but you came up with you have 3,000 recipes that you've made over the years. But for the
That's
book,
right.
I know you had to narrow them down to 300. What are some of your favorites, Betty Ruth?
Oh, I have many, many favorites.
If you had to say what your favorites were, what would they be?
Oh, I love oysters. Rockefeller, a favorite of mine. And I love in desserts. I do little pecan tasties, the pecan pies, and lots of soups. And especially in the hot summer, cold soups.
Yes.
I love cold soups.
You have a good one in there that I saw. I think it was a crab mousse.
Crab meat mousse.
Yes, that was.
The salad, that's a delightful salad.
Yes,
I do that and serve it with a avocado with a really guacamole in the center, and it's a fun dish for summer.
The other thing that I like about the book is that, you know, none of the recipes are quick and easy. And I say I like it because one of the things you say is that as a doctor, when you talk about the rate of obesity in this country and you talk about the fact that so many of us feed our kids a lot of fat foods, pizza on a Friday night, that kind of thing, it's worth it to take that time, you say, to just go ahead and prepare something from scratch, and you can put it in the freezer for later.
And you learn what freezes and what does not freeze. And two, you can take any recipe in the book and make it a healthy recipe. You don't have, in fact, they have some of the recipes, they have butter and they have oil, you know, and but you can always, there are things you can substitute.
And that's what
make
you
it
said.
A healthy, recipe.
You know, one of the other things I find interesting is you say when you were practicing medicine, your patients would often leave not just with a prescription, but also with a recipe.
That's true. They would bring, we shared recipes. And so sometimes they would call before they came in. Do you remember such and such that you could, would you bring the recipe? I'm coming in, would you bring the recipe? And I would, and they would bring and share recipes with me.
So it was almost like healing them in more ways than one in some respects,
it's true.
Right? You also talk about the fact that in your book, you love to entertain. You always have people over. And for you, cooking is therapeutic. How does that differ from your life in the OR?
I don't know. They're both forms of giving, I think, of yourself, medicine and cooking. So I think, you know, you can derive the same satisfaction from others. I guess I sublimate in the kitchen.
There you go. Well, it's funny. I saw one of the pictures that you had of you actually putting on your gloves to go cook. It was almost like putting on surgical gloves before you went into the OR. But it's a delightful book, and I like the fact that you put a lot of poems in there, and you come across very, very, just as I said, just delightful and wonderful in the book. And so sticking to your guns, I think, helped. It's a great book, and I appreciate you being here with us this morning.
You're so kind to have me.
Oh, anytime.
Appreciate it.
And if you'd like more information about Betty Ruth Speir or about her delightful book, it's called Come Cook With Me. It has wonderful, whimsical poetry, as we said, interspersed with the recipes. You can visit gyne.com.